Hi Anand. I thought today we'll talk about an interesting article which I read a few
Mm,
days back
mm,
about the effects of war
mm,
on stock market. That
mm,
article did trace back all the way to World War and after that, every single world global conflicts which have happened,
mm,
including the American terrorist attack on
mm,
the Gulf War, and the amount of time it took to recover and all that. But seem to be a huge deviation from
mm,
what is like the set norm. I'd
mm.
like to understand what is your thoughts on this.
See, the World War One and World War Two are completely different. World War One and World War Two, the war was fought in some Asian areas and primarily in the European theater.
Correct.
World War Two, because Japan was very aggressive, in parts of Far East and Asia there was some war.
Correct.
Indonesia and those kind, Singapore and up to Burma and parts of, they came up to small parts of India.
Correct. But during World War One, we were also colonies of the British Empire,
Yeah,
no?
don't know. Even
So it
World
was
War Two,
called
we
World
were.
War because the colonies were also fighting.
Yeah,
French were fighting in
no.
Pondicherry.
I wanted to tell you.
Hmm.
So the Andaman and Nicobar Island also fell to the Japanese.
Correct.
Now the Japanese were stopped around northeast India,
Correct. Near Burma.
near Burma, just outside Burma. What I am trying to tell you is countries which were not affected by the war completely, like America. America turned out to be the industrial producer for the world.
Right.
It was a production base.
Yes.
So lot of goods were produced in the United States and supplied to the continental Europe on credit
True.
to the Allies. The Allies were primarily Russia, England, and America because the rest were all under captured territory. De Gaulle was, of course, the president of Free France, and Netherlands had a government, but all these guys had limited roles.
True.
These were the main three guys, and Britain was joined by its colonies, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and
Mainly
India.
India. Yes.
But most of the resources came from America to fight that war. And the war also was fought for some economic resources because Germany did not have enough oil.
Didn't have access to oil. Yes.
And Japan conquered Indonesia because it wanted access to oil.
Correct.
So this was the main conflict zone. You have to realize the world had come out from a Great Depression.
Right about the time. Yes.
Yeah, 1929 to 1939, there was a Great Depression and there was no very big growth. So actually, the World War II, in looking back, was a major boon for US because US supplied a lot of arms and armaments
I
on
agree.
credit to the rest of the world.
I agree. But this what I
And
would
as
like.
soon as the war was over, America gave aid in the name of aid,
Yes.
did lot of rebuilding in continental Europe called Marshall Plan, and did a lot of rebuilding in Japan.
True.
So this led to a huge boom in the stock market.
Yes, but if you look at the stock market during World War II, it initially fell.
Yeah,
It bottomed out. It took around 17, 18 days to bottom out. Then to recover from that bottom to come back to where it was, especially the US stock market during World War II, took almost a year. Took around 300 and odd days to come back.
mm.
So what you're saying is true. The Marshall Plan and everything, even before that itself, just seeing the
Between,
production,
yeah,
where it became the war machine. The US became a war machine. Immediately within a year, during the war itself, it turned on. But this current conflict, we always say in a time of uncertainty, there's a capital flee happening. But somehow there is a complete
no. See,
dislocation of.
between 1939 and 1945,
Hmm.
the stock market grew at an average of 7% every year.
Correct.
But that was not enough because from 1929 itself the market had begun to collapse.
Absolutely right.
So about 90% of the value was lost.
Yes.
So the actual 1929 peak was crossed only in 1954,
Absolutely right.
right? So from the after effects, there was a New Deal before that, but the after effects of depression
And
were shaken off during the World War II and the years after that in the America, and the America became the center of the world.
correct.
So, and it was actually between 1880s
Hmm.
to 1939. It was the era of globalization and free floating currencies, and currencies was dependent on how much gold you had, right? 1945, the Bretton and Woods Agreement changed this currency trades and made it a fixed currency market. The way we measured currency changed between after the war completely.
True.
They met in a place called Bretton and Woods in America, and they agreed that the world would change the way they fix currencies. So, in the post world order, they had two institutions. One is the IMF and one was the World Bank.
Hmm.
The World Bank was controlled by Americans, the IMF by the Europeans. Okay, but both of them agreed until today it is true that the dollar would reign supreme. Dollar was agreed to be pegged to gold
True.
at $36 an ounce, and the rest of the world would have fixed currency in dollar against dollars, and the government would appreciate or depreciate the currency depending on its currency needs. So this gave enormous power to US, which is still exploiting today. In 1971, this fixed rate does not work, and he changes into a floating world.
Correct.
So to compare anything before 1971
Is of no use.
to post 1972 is stupid. And also, to compare something that happened before 1939 to what happened after that is 45 is stupid.
Okay.
Because from 45 there was no floating currencies,
Absolutely
government
right.
fixed currencies.
Fair enough.
And after 1971, it's a free for all. So to say that while his principles are correct and his methodology is correct, but Benjamin Graham retired by 1974. So his operating period was between 1929 to 1974.
The rules have changed.
The rules changed because currency became floating.
Yes, it's like comparing test before 5 days and
Yeah. And Ray Dalio said that brilliantly in one of his pieces. In his life, he never saw currency depreciation. So he didn't know what would happen. So on 15th August 1971, when Nixon announced that he was taking the peg, he expected the markets would correct.
right. Yes.
On that day, the market shot
Short
up
up. Yes.
because if you are depreciating your currency, you appreciate the value of the other fixed assets.
Absolutely right.
So we have not seen a full scale war. Why am I saying this?
Hmm.
This comparison is not correct.
Because it's
We
not
have not seen a full scale war.
just a proxy thing going.
Yeah, there are two wars where the superpowers were involved.
Hmm.
One was in Afghanistan,
Correct.
where Soviet Union was involved and America played by proxy. And after Soviet Union collapsed, the Americans got in. Then there was the Vietnam War, where Soviet Americans came in and the Vietnamese came in, and there was proxy war going on.
But like you rightly said, that is before Nixon.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why Nixon decoupled gold was because of the debt of the
because
Vietnam.
of that war.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, you have not had a full war. So we do not know what will happen if America joins this war,
If NATO jumps in,
if NATO jumps in. And NATO is trying its best
not to jump in.
not to jump in. Right? If NATO jumps in, all bets are off.
So what is Putin's game plan then? What is he trying to do?
I don't know what he
Because
tried.
if you see the recent things, it's of course engineered by him. What the butchering which is going on with civilians. He must
See,
be
he thought
Hmm.
that he will have a quick victory and he will replace the
government.
government.
Hmm.
He has not been able to take a major town yet.
Hmm.
I think Mariupol or one town that
Yeah,
he could
even
take.
that he looks like he's going to lose grips on.
He's going to take.
Hmm.
So, out of sheer and there are unconfirmed reports
Hmm.
which says Russia has lost several generals
Correct.
and some troops have shot generals.
Correct. Their information is a black box, so we don't
We
really know.
don't know, it's a black box.
Yeah.
But one thing is sure, that Russia has not been able to steamroll Ukraine. And the other thing that everybody is talking about is the Russian heavy vehicles have not been able to move across the roads, off the roads. They have not gone off road. And since they are coming on the road, they are coming on a single file.
Right.
So, and using American and NATO missiles, Stingers especially, from shoulder powered missiles, these guys are picking one of the other. So, they have definitely given Russia a bloody nose. So, the way it looks like to me, if the Americans keep on arming the Ukrainians, it is going to be another Vietnam or Afghanistan.
More like Afghanistan. Because I don't, in Vietnam, they had boots on the ground. I don't think Americans.
The Russians have boots in the ground.
Yeah, but
The Americans had boots in the ground,
in Vietnam,
but the Russians did not have
didn't
boots
have,
on the
yes,
ground.
they didn't. Correct.
Right
Absolutely.
now it's reversed.
Role reverse. Yes.
Yes. So now what is going to happen is
How they got a bruised nose in Afghanistan.
they are going to, and now he is already saying that he is treated as a war criminal. And the world is also in a different place. The world has had absolutely 12 years of near zero interest rate.
Correct.
So inflation has caught on. Food prices are going through the roof because Russia and Ukraine are major
We've been
suppliers
having
of
a lot of
food.
free money. Yes.
And you have crude, which is going up. So this may force the Americans to raise rates. Next time they have said 0.5.
But we've seen this inflation disruption throughout the world. Like what's happening in Pakistan, Sri Lanka,
Yes.
Turkey.
Yes. In India, it is better because you are sitting on $600 billion of
With the
reserves.
reserves, yes.
If you did not have the reserves, the rupee would have fallen more sharply. It's
The
fallen.
pain would have been more.
The pain would have been more. So you have to thank Manmohan Singh, Vajpayee, and Narasimha Rao before for their wisdom to have collected the more than 80%
Yes.
of the reserves.
Yeah, but reserves don't last forever unless you have policies which are.
That I do not know. But as of now, we have the reserves.
Okay.
The reserves are protecting us. And the Americans have released strategic supplies.
From the.
But how long will the strategic supply last? I don't know.
True.
And our basket is trading at 107, 108. In 2 cities in India, petrol has already reached 122. And he is talking about raising another 10 rupees. So 135 rupees for liter in petrol. You can close your eyes and say the world is dark. That you say there is no inflation. But Saktikanta Das will have to increase interest rates. That will engineer a correction in this market.
Anyway, this has been an interesting conversation and kind of gives us a perspective on what's happening and why, though people are expecting the markets to move, it's not moved the way it is. Kind of gives us a good.
Yes, fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for watching, Peerage. If you like this video, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. If you do not turn on the bell notification, you will not be notified every time we put out a video. If you like the content, kindly consider sharing with your friends and relatives. Once again, I thank you for watching Be Rich. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support.